What's going on, y'all? My name is JimDre Westbrook, and we are here in the Scott A. Arkills production studio with two celebrities, right? We have none other than Mr. Scott A. Arkills, President and CEO of Silver State Schools Credit Union, and Mercedes Martinez. She does everything, y'all. You've seen her on TV, you've heard her on the radio, and she is our dear friend here at the credit union. So this is exclusive. My first time being in the room with both of you in this seat. So I have a couple of questions, and we're just kind of going to have a casual conversation
Sure.
about financial literacy. So now that we've launched our podcast, the Financial Seeds podcast, it's a family finance podcast. So we are primarily talking about parents and talking about kids and talking about money. So if I can ask maybe the 10-year-old Scott, the 10-year-old Mercedes, what are some things you wish you would have learned when you were coming up as an adolescent?
For me,
Teenager?
I think I would have wish I would have learned more about savings and how you can actually make money by saving your money. I didn't know that that was a thing. I literally thought like if I take this $10 bill to the credit union that they're going to put it in a box and that they're going to hold my $10 bill there. I didn't know that I could actually make money and that's why I think Silver State Schools Credit Union is so great because now my kids see that and they get excited. They're like, "You mean the more money I save, the more money I make?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's a pretty
Yeah.
good deal." So that would be the
Okay.
number one thing for me.
Okay. Scott?
For me, I think I was, I kind of taught myself the value of savings early on, but I wish that I probably would have received a little bit more direction from that perspective because really, what does savings go towards it? It allows you to get the things that you want, whether it's in high school or preparing for college and that kind of thing. And I'm just thinking about the first car that I got, when I was 16 and how excited I was. But uh, had I had a little bit more direction, I think, from that perspective, I think I would have probably benefited that much more from that. And so it's really the value of savings, is probably the biggest thing for me.
Okay. No, I love it. If I could think back, it's probably investing.
Hmm.
I remember that my parents belonged in an investment club,
Right.
but that was it.
Yeah.
Like there weren't too many lessons that they learned that they said, okay, well, this is how you invest, what to look into. I didn't really get on investing until my 30s.
Hmm. Right.
I just didn't think this wasn't for me.
Right.
But the fact that, seeing now elementary students understand what investing is, the basics,
Hmm.
and that you can start very, very early. I wish that, maybe I asked the conversation, question to say, Mom and Dad, what are you guys really doing? These people are coming to our house. Like, what are you really learning? I wish that we had that conversation
I'm
back in the day.
seeing in my daughter's school they do like a stock market game where
Yeah.
they say, "Hey, you have $1,000 invested," and then they have a contest to see who makes the most money. And I'm like, "That's brilliant! Why didn't we do that? That is amazing!"
Yeah.
You know?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I was at a Title One charter school, and teaching a class a couple of years ago, and I was amazed that these girls that were literally Title One students, they knew the value of investing too, and they were talking about 401ks and everything. I'm going, I don't even know this stuff right now. I'm supposed to be a professional at that, but it kind of goes to show you how important financial literacy is and starting early and really getting that influence.
I love it. So I'll ask a flip side question. As far as kids, the kids that you've raised, the kids that you've been around, what have young folks taught you about money? Have there been any gems, any lessons that, you didn't necessarily get on your own or from other adults?
From I think from my perspective, it's that same example that I just used, the fact that these young ladies uh, were asking me such in-depth questions.
Mhm.
For me, I think that taught me a lesson not to, I guess, take it for granted. That these girls were sixth, seventh, and eighth grade charter school students, and not to take it for granted that you can start too young or start too too late. Mercedes and I have talked about that as we've done a presentation in a school before too. There's no I don't think there's a ceiling or a basement on when you start or stop teaching financial literacy and financial wellness lessons. And so that was probably a weak answer, but it's the best I got.
No, I think that's good. Just piggybacking on that, I think too, another thing that this, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, money is the concept of money I've noticed is a little different
Yep,
than, when I grew up. I mean, money to me was, $100 bills, and to them, it's their Apple Pay. It's
Yeah.
digital. Like
That's true.
it's not paper to them. And I think it's really important to explain to them that, hey, yeah, you just give them your phone to pay, but that is actual money. And
Mhm.
I think sometimes that can get you in trouble. And I've learned that from my kids that that's kind of how they view money, as it's digital currency now. And that's the way it is. And, this day and age. And it's important to teach them that it's still money. It's not just a swipe of your phone.
That's a great.
Yeah, and what you're saying, everything is digital. Like this isn't a video game.
Right.
Right.
Like I think
Yeah.
with that generation where everything's so accessible. Like with all of our
Mhm.
generations, we had to wait for certain things. There was a time where we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have internet. Life was way much different. But the fact that as soon as they're born, everything is accessible, and this money thing, like they think that, hey, you got it. I need it. You have it. I think that value piece that we talked about a little bit is important. Or when they don't value it, it makes me kind of think like, man, money is very valuable, and this is a lesson that they need to learn. Where this thing doesn't grow on trees. This thing takes hard work, and you should learn how to save. You should learn how to invest. All the boring stuff
Yeah.
that they don't want to hear, but it is so effective, and I think it means so much.
Yeah, I think that, I would get an actual check when I got paid, an
Yeah.
actual paper
Yep.
check that I would take and put in my account. And now it's just magically in their account. And,
Right.
there's no paper exchanged. And so they don't even know what a check is, honestly.
Yeah, no, I love that, and I know both you guys are busy, so I'll just have one final thing. Um, is there any financial seed or a financial gem that you want to give to our members out there? We do such a great job of always prioritizing people over profit. So, is there anything that you want to say to our audience out there, our members out there, um, just encouragement or financial?
For me, I think it's just the value of financial wellness to our community. It's the backbone of our whole economy, really, when you think about it. And I was just gonna piggyback on something that Mercedes just said. This is just going to get more and more complex with Bitcoin and all of that stuff and crypto. I think as these concepts get more and more diverse and expanded and everything, we've got to keep up with that, and that's really our job to continue to make sure that we do that. And so from my perspective, I think it's really that is making sure that we keep up with everything that's going on in the circle of financial literacy.
My advice would be to ask questions. If you don't know what it is, there's probably a lot of people that don't know what it is. You could have said Roth IRA, 401k, 529, APR. I had no idea what any of those things were. None. And this is in my 20s, that I did not know this stuff. Don't be embarrassed. Ask, find out, educate yourself, and I promise you, you're not the only one who doesn't know. It's okay to ask those questions.
Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely okay to ask those questions. Give yourself that grace. You're not alone. Right? This financial wellness journey is essentially this marathon that all of us are on. And we really, really appreciate the both of you being here, not just in this space, but for our members, for our community, letting them know that we will always prioritize people over profit.